Good evening. All right. My headphones. Time are we at? 4 minutes. My bad, I was inhaling some food. And I should probably put myself on screen, huh? Hey, good evening. Okay, after a full day of coding, there is nothing I look forward to more than a full evening of coding. I have my music far too loud. A second. Is that right? All right, last time I finished on the routing section of the full stack foundations. Oh, how did I do that? Oh, but would rather not. There we go. That's weird. I think that was on system settings. Pretty sure I'm on dark mode. Anyway, this one we're going to crack on with data loading, and there's only 2 exercises. Oh, there's quite a lot here. Yeah, guess I'm just going to get started with some data loading. As always, code and content is all going to be freely available, but the video content is not. So it's going to be muted and invisible. So if you want to watch the actual content, then you're going to need to buy the course at EpicWeb.Dev. Cool. All right, let's do some loading. What have we got? So we're going to be using the Fetch API, which is good. Always a fan of using native material. Everything's going to be server-side rendered. Also a good bonus. And we're using Express for the server. The use loader data hook from Remix Run, which will return the data from the loader. So we've got a loader here, which is going to return the JSON. Hello world. My root is going to use the loader data. Data.hello. Finally, you can control the headers. You can control the headers with JSON utility by passing a second argument to JSON, which allows you to set things like cache headers. And of course, if you want full control, you can take the response object yourself. All right, let's give that a go. I still don't really understand the loaders, but I guess I'm in the right section for that. I should have already kicked this off, although that is a really weird resolution. Hold on, let me try and... Oh, that's annoying. Don't know what is going on with my res. Let's try and reopen this. Give me 1 second, sorry. There we go. Right. At least the resolution's a bit better now. Oh, sorry, I've got incredibly itchy back. Right, a npm start, I think. That should give us the workshop app. Let's start the playground. And we're into Epic Notes. Cool. The routing is taken care of. Kelly has taken some time to make the app look a bit nicer. So now you need to add some data loading. Create a temporary fake database for us to use until we get around to actually putting together a real database. You can find it in the app utils db server. db server. What we're in loading one utils. Crypto, relevant. I've also added a user with some notes in the database by default. The username is Cody, and I've added a link for Cody's notes on the homepage at the top right corner to make it easier for you to get to his first note, which can be found at users, Cody notes, blah, blah, blah. Whoop, there we go. The tool we're using here is MSWJS, which you may find useful in other contexts, but again, don't worry about it too much. I have never heard of that. So let's start loading data. Based on what you learned in the background, you should be familiar with the conventions necessary to load data into the UI, and the emoji will be there to guide you along the way. So we're going to load data on the profile, the list of notes, and the note page. All the instructions will be in the files. They will be pretty similar. Don't forget you can use the files menu below to open the files necessary for this workshop. Ah, nice. Ah, does that open it? Oh, nice. I like that. I like that. And if you really get stuck, you can always look at the diff tab to see what you're missing. Cool. Let's load some data. I've just realised that I'm watching the solution. I thought that was going to be an introductory video. Okay, let's put that back to the start and get to that later. Right, where are we at? That's actually quite large. So let's do that. Loading data. It's because it said problem here. Let's go back one. There we go. All the instructions for this exercise are in the files themselves. You can go through them in any order. Okay, so let's start with the username. Username, I'm guessing. Params username notes. So can I go back to here? There we go. So we want to get the database from the utils directory using this import. It's pretty straightforward. So we're importing the DB from app utils DB server. Add a loader export here, which uses the params from the data function args. You get the username from params username. Here's how you get the user from the database. Just seem to remember things if I type out rather than just uncommenting it. So for each user, we're going to access the DB from the import. Guessing is user. It doesn't know just to get the one or find the first, right? So db.user. Find first. All right. This syntax is pretty new to me, where username equals username. Oop. Add a loader export here, which uses the params from the data function args. Oop. Factory API user. It's a model API. Find first. But the username equals this is missing something. What did I miss? Add a loader export here. So this isn't the full code, right? This is just, okay, so we need a loader. And my memory's a little rusty. So we'll just open this. And remix loader. All right, so we're gonna import this JSON utility, which he said we were gonna need. And then let's type out so we remember it. We're gonna export a loader, which is an asynchronous function, which returns the JSON utility, which converts this object into a response. Or at least it would if I could spell. So we've got an async function here, which is returning a typed response. Let's just you'll get the username from params.username, which uses the params from the data function args. Until I don't remember how to do this from last week. See if there's anything in here. So there's the use loader data. Return the necessary user data using Remix's JSON util. Okay, so that's up here, right? I always do that. Oop. TypeScript will complain about the user possibly being undefined. We'll fix that in the next section. As extra credit, try to do it with the new response instead of using the JSON utility. We no longer need to get the params in the UI, so we'll delete this, get the data from the loader with use loader data. So let's import this. Is that complaining? Oh, I hate imports like that. I hate import order. Okay, so we're gonna have data. We're gonna remove this. Get data from the loader with use loader data. So we're gonna use this. I think this automatically gives me the data back from any loader I define in the same file. I think that's what I remember from last time. So at the moment, all data is going to give me is an OK back. User's name is not required, so it's extra credit, add a fallback to the username. Each root can define a loader that provides data to the root when rendering. Cool. So we're going to define this loader, and at the moment this only returns an OK true. And if I check this, that's all it's going to give me. JSONify object with an OK true. So I need to return. Let's do const user. If I return this, data should now give me username. Get data from the loader. Get the username from params username. And here's how we get the user from the database. So I'm guessing this is going to go in our loader. Does the loader automatically give me params? There we go. Root params are defined by the file names. If a segment begins with this, so the function loader gives me params for free. So is that an object? It is. Got params. Params. Declare but never read, and it's currently any. Params.username here. We can get rid of this and then return this. How are we looking? I broke it. Let's stick that down here. What have we got? No resource with a given identifier found. That That's always a good start. Let's just get rid of that extra import. That's still typed as any. Okay, so let's give me a full breakdown. Typed responds where the user is an entity. User, ID, email, username, name. I need a way to type this. I don't know how to. Maybe if I do this. Order function args. Okay, so nice. At least it's now an object of strings. Param string. So params, this should be a string or undefined. Good times. That's wonder. So now we should have a user. You gonna load something? Nope. Probably because, pardon me. Oh. Probably because this is erroring. So let's just do data. User. Data.user.username. You still don't like that? Get the data from the loader with use loader data. So that's that. Get the data from the loader. The user's name is not required, so as extra credit, add a fallback to the username. Let's just grab this. Turn this into a comment. Okay, so the name can be string null or undefined. This can be string or undefined. Otherwise, goody. Then we should just be able to replace this with handle. Now we can guarantee that it's going to be a string because we have that final fallback. Let's see how this is looking. Just going to restart the app. Cool, so we're back. We've got a link here. I'm just going to do a pre and then do a JSON stringify. Let's take a look at data. Cool, so we're getting the actual data object back here. Oh, I thought that would give me the overflow. So there's no notes, but I've got the email and it's Cody. So I'm actually just going to remove that. It should still say Cody. Let's get rid of that horrible Stripify as well. There we go. So we've got Cody notes. TypeScript will complain the user being possibly undefined, so we'll fix that in the next section. As extra credit, try to do it with new response instead of using the JSON util just for fun. Well, I'm terrible at this, so this should go as poorly as I expect. But you never know. The JSON static method of the response interface returns a response. The method makes it easier to create response objects. Syntax response.json data. So we want to use it instead of. Where am I using the JSON? Here. So this is going to make a call, and let's just say response. Response. JSON. Then user, I think. That's going to return a response. Pass options to it. Going to pass a status text, and any headers. I'm not sure if we define our own one here. Kind of flying in the seat of pants here. But we could say, does a user exist? If they do, return a 200. Otherwise, return 404. And then let's return the response. See what comes back here. Response.json is not a function. Return value gives us this. So we're going to need to call response.json. The JSON body, my data, and the header set to application JSON. Let's just do that. Let's say the header. Ooh, not that. The headers. Must be. So I can just call the JSON utility here. So I shouldn't actually need to provide these options. The object has the following properties for the body. It's going to be my data. The body here is going to be the user. I've got 200. Header is JSON. OK is true. Just need to call JSON on it again. Data's unknown now, which is interesting. So I'm returning a response here. Like, do I want to return it here like that? Does that give me? It gives me a promise of unknown, which means that's unknown. Response.json is not a function. Ah, this .json isn't a function. Yeah, this body.json. Something's messed up here. Nope, just me. If I'm calling it, so I'm calling response.json. Instead of using the JSON util. At the moment, this just returns JSON utility, which gives me a typed response back. So I'm calling JSON with the user. Do I need to set the user like this? What does this give me back? Still a response, still unknown. Data still unknown. You still don't like this. It's going to return a response object. Maybe I just need the body. Okay, so it's giving me something back. So I've called this, right? I've called the static method of response.json. Fetch an image. See, that's what I thought I just needed to do. If I just called response.json. Oh, this is async. Do I need to await it? Unknown. Let's have a look here. So we've got the response. Get rid of this. Response constructor, where I'm creating a new response and I'm passing the body to it. The body is optional. An object defining a body for the response. This can be null. Typed array. So what happens if I just return that? It's returning a response, then data is unknown. You should definitely use the JSON helper as it's easier and works better with TypeScript, but feel free to try it with the new response. In our fetch response example, let's see. What am I going to do here? I'm going to cut this. Then I'm going to undo and go back to the util that I had. Let's get back to a working version. There's JSON user. There we go. So we're going to return this eventually. I'm going to paste this. Actually, let's just get rid of the object. Just this really doesn't like response.json, does it? Yes, this is what I mean. I keep hot reloading or something doesn't work. I need to keep restarting the app. Response is not. Oh, of course it's not. Oh, of course it's not. There we go. Right. Do I need to create a new response? Is that a thing? Likes a construct signature. Create a new response object using the response constructor, but you're more likely to encounter a response object being returned as the result of another API operation. Here's the constructor. Yeah, it's new response. God damn it. So let's create a new response. We can actually pass the body through here. So I did this. Okay. So we've got the body here, which is not of type body in it. How do you feel about this? Still okay with it. then what do I just call? So I've created a new response, and then body equals response. I just call response.json. What's body gonna give me? Nice. Localhost didn't send any data. Why didn't you like that? Resource with a given identifier found. Unexpected token in the bagging area. Wonder if because it's an entity, it should just be a user. Shouldn't need to convert that into anything. User does not exist in this stream. Can we get the same error? Oh, Dan, I actually need to say. I actually need to pass it as the body. Argument of type body is not. Oh man, this is a slog. Right, let's time box this. Let's do 25 past. If I don't get it, then I'll leave it there. Body parameter accepts it. The blob is a new. I don't need the blob. This can be null or either a blob. Maybe it does need to be a blob. I thought that was for like images and things. File like, yeah. Okay, so let's do once blob. Let's create a new blob. Not sure why this needs to be an array. We'll do json.stringify. Just pass the user. No, 2. I actually need to pass the type here as well. Oh, the type for the blob. And then let's create a new response with type blob. Okay, no longer erroring, so it's a good sign. Let's just restart. Oh. We've got the console. Okay, you're not a fan of this. Body is a promise of unknown. Your response is a blob. See what else can we pass here. An array buffer. Data view. Low value interface, multiple data types. Seems like overkill. Typed array. I don't really like view. Yeah, blob seems to be the way. My blob's just creating a straight up new blob. Should be here. Options, status text. And the response is a new response. Status. User exist. Or otherwise 200. No. Other one. It's no good. 404. It's my options. Can I not log anything in this loader? Is that not going to let me do that? Don't think this is right. That's a response. So I should be able to call that. What if I return this instead? Promise of unknown. Get nothing coming back now, right? So then let's just do it in here. Let's do a JSON stringify data. Nice, so I'm getting data back. But hey, I don't know the Tailwind classes to. Can I do this? Style. Can't be bothered, I'm too tired. Let's have a look. Data. Let's just look in here. There we go. So we've got data coming back. Username is here. The name is not. So I lose the type here. Do I need to provide that? Always wondered. Didn't think so. So I've created a new blob. Is it because it's an array? It's because it's just data now, right? Hey, there we go. Cool. So that's how you do it with the new response object. It'll play better with TypeScript, which makes sense because currently we're creating a blob here, which means we lose the type of this because it's stringified. Oh, there's 3 files. All right. At least we did the advanced credit there. Let's just do the basic example in the other 2. I'll take a short break. So import the database as before, and then I'm going to go back here. I'm actually just going to try and do this from scratch. So I'm going to create a loader function. You can remove the params here. So this is going to be, what do we want eventually? We want this to be data. It's going to use data. Use loader data, I think. This had a type, but I can't remember what it was. Maybe that? Is that what it was? This is going to return our data.user. This is a really weird way of doing this, where I'm building out the UI before I've actually got the data through. We are going to use the JSON utility eventually. We're going to return that. I am going to need the code actually to get the user. Which was this? There we go. So we're going to look for a note. So we're going to search the database for a note. The first one where the ID equals the note ID. We're going to get the params from, where did we get the params from? Database, params comes from loader function args. So we're going to deconstruct this and get the params from the loader. This gives us the loader function args. We're going to find a note where the ID equals the params.noID. We know that's going to be a string. And then we're going to JSON the note. DB note find first. Interestingly, it gives user. Nice. So it returns an object with user and note. Replace this with the title. So data's possibly null here. I think I actually want the note here. Let's see what we have. Console log, data, and where are we? Note/note ID. So I'm going to go to Files, Note/note ID. Me. Just because it's busted. Cannot read properties of undefined. So let's just say title just now. All right. Data. Interesting. That's actually just given me the note. If I hover this, that makes it look like I'm getting the user and I'm getting the note back. Data shown an entity, but when I log it, so maybe the owner here? No, it's user. Weird. Anyway, I can do data. So just call this note. Then we're going to replace this with note title. And this is going to be note content. Hey, there we go. Cool. That's 2 out of 3. And you're complaining because you're meant to be up there, aren't you? Ah, no. You're supposed to be a type. Why are you freaking out? Because it's just. Does that help me out? Oh, it's just saying it doesn't exist. That's fine. That's fine. All right, one to go on the actual notes. So I think I can just go back to fail to fetch. Why did you fail to fetch? There we go. So we're on select a note. Add a loader. Oh, there's a bit more here. All right, so let's bring this back in. Add a loader export here, which uses the params from data function args, and you'll get the username from here. Okay, so we're going to export const. Async function loader. I'm going to deconstruct this, get the params. We can get that from the loader function args. This is a type. Should go top. Here's how you get the owner information and the note from the database. So let's do the owner first. We're going to find the user that equals notes.username. And then notes, db.note, find many for the owner's username. Close this. Return the necessary data using Remix's JSON util. So I should now just be able to return JSON. But just return an object owner notes. Here. Going to be const data. Ooh. I'll use data, use loader data. There we go. Let's see, this is a type of loader. Let's see. Nothing should come back here. We should get shouldn't get that anymore. Does something need to come back here? Let's try restarting. Got the owner and we've got the notes. So the owner's display name is going to be data.owner.username. Name maybe, right? Yeah, name. Name or data.owner.username. We get the username from the loader data. So I'm just going to grab this instead, and this is going to help us link back. Data.owner is possibly null. I was going to fix that there, but I think we're going to fix that in a later exercise. We can get the username from data owner username. Owner display names notes. Instead of hard coding the note, create one LI for each note in the database. So JSX, and we'll say data.notes. Turn an LI here. Missing one of these. This needs a key, which can be the notes ID. There we go. Now we have a list of notes. That looks like the same note. It's because it's just some note. Whoop. There we go. Epic notes. That's going to take us back to Cody's notes. This is going to take us to Cody's notes, and all that's still to happen is this needs to navigate to the actual ID. This needs to go to... Oh no, wrong. That one's fine, because that's going back. Navlink to... This is what we need to think. This can be relative, so we're just going to go to note.id. Man, it's kind of annoying that I kind of need to restart the app. There we go. Perfect. All right. Nice. So we managed to do all three of them, plus we managed to do the extra credit with the response blob as well. I'm going to watch the solution because I think this part especially is going to be quite interesting. And I'm going to take a 5-minute break and crack on with exercise 2. Nice. That was super interesting. A couple of things. One, all I needed to do here instead of this blob was this up, and then I just needed to do JSON.stringify. Pass the user through like that. Why don't you like that? What did I miss? Oh, did I delete something there? I got rid of the options as well. So then I'd be like status 200. Pass like that. And the other thing I learned there was instead of returning the entire note, you can actually just map over it and return. So you could like return it like this, and then you could map over the notes, which is quite cool. And then you only ever send data over the wire that is actually going to be rendered in the UI. That's pretty helpful. Whereas before I would send the entire note and then I would deconstruct it on the client. I suppose it makes more sense to break it down here, and then you're only ever sending over what you need, which is quite similar to GraphQL, which is cool. I can mark that as complete. We're on to handle missing data. I'm going to set that to the playground. Close these out. And then I'm going to take a 5-minute break. All right, back at 5. All right, I'm back. Give me 1 second to reply to this, and then I'll crack on. All right, so that's in a decent spot. I'm going to watch this and then crack on with the second exercise. This is actually going to time in quite nicely because by the time I finish the second problem, that should time in with me finishing for the evening. All right, cool. So we're going to work on the undefined data where if data comes back as null, and we're also going to put in the correct status code. So let's see what we've got here. If you go to a user that doesn't exist, the app crashes. For example, try this one. Oh, actually did crash there, which is unexpected. We had to ignore some TypeScript errors with TS-expect-error, which should have tipped us off about this problem. We had to ignore some TypeScript errors. Ah, okay. After trying to get the user from the database, you're going to need to check whether the returned user exists. If they don't, then you should throw a 404. Here's an example. So we have the loader, find the first sandwich that matches the params ID, and if there's no sandwich, throw a new response, string, and a status 404. Okay. Add an if statement here to check whether the no exists and throw an appropriate 404 if not. So we're going to say if there's no note, run your response. Not found, and then we'll pass an options object. Status. As an extra credit, you can try using the invariant response utility from here to do this in a single line of code. Just make sure to supply the proper status code. Once you do that, you can remove the expect error. Shouldn't need that because with this if statement, note will now always be defined. So I think I can actually just get rid of this just now. Cool. As an extra credit, you can try using the invariant response utility from app-utils. Can I get that from here? Import Variant response. Let's take a look at what this does. Variant response takes a condition, a message, and a response in it. Let's see, it's a condition. If there's no condition, throw a new response. Provide a condition, and if that condition is falsy, it throws a 400. That's the given message. Inspired by this invariant. Example, call this. Here's my conditional error message. So what's the so we're just calling invariant response. We're going to pass the condition, which means just going to see if that returns true. And otherwise, not found. So if it's falsy, it'll throw a 400. So if this is falsy, it should return note not found. Throws a response if the condition is falsy. Extra credit, you can try using this to do this in a single line of code. Alright, okay, so I'm just replacing this. I thought I was going to replace all of this with a single line. Just make sure to supply the proper status code. Throw a new response if the condition isn't met. If the type of message is a function, call the function. Otherwise, pass the message. And if no message is given, return this. How do I return the so we're spreading on here. So I need to pass a third response in it. Note not found, and then the response in that will be status 404. But then I still need this, right? So I still need to check that note is not null. Suppose, I mean, it doesn't, it's not one line of code, but I could say if there's no note, say that's false, like that. Cannot read properties of null. Reading name. Users. I'm still in that. Users I do not exist. So let's go here. 404 not found. How do I get back? It's the users. Cody. There we go. Get Cody's notes. So where am I just now? I'm on the username. So it should be /Cody still have this. That looks like the previous exercise. I'm just going to restart this. There we go. So we've got Cody, we've got notes. I just added this in the no ID. So if I go here, just add in this, let's inspect. There we go, 404. And just to make sure that's working, we'll just say 402. Nice, returns 402. Cool, nice. Throw a response, how weird is that? It allows you to easily exit the code flow and send a response right away. You can even put it into a utility function. Assert if it's defined. Asserts value is a value. Cool. Check if this is defined. As a type of value. Value can either be null, undefined, or of type value. If it's nullish, throw in the response not found. That's cool. Remix will handle catching the response for us and send the response we threw along. But it does so in a special way that we'll get to in a future exercise. For now, just handling the error with a proper status code is enough. So let's handle missing data in the loaders of the profile, the note list, and the note routes. The profile is going to be Cody here. Back to users.cody. We have a user here. I'm not going to create that utility. I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'll just say there's no user. Invariant response. We know that's going to go falsy. User not found is going to be our message, and then we're going to override the 400 status code with a 404, which means we don't need this. We don't need this. And now if we do Goody. The final one. Please handle possible missing data in the loaders of the profile, the note list, and the note routes. So if we go to the actual notes, here we should have one left to do. DB note find many for the owner's username. Interesting. I just need to do this once. So we'll say, oh, I did not mean that. Nuts. There we go. there's no owner. Variant response. It's always going to throw note not found. No, we're in notes, right? User. DB note, find many. Owner is always going to be true now, and notes are going to find many. And this is what we learned in the last one, right? We could actually just send this back as is, and it'll send back everything associated with the notes object. But by mapping over it, we're going to go through every note, and we're only going to return the ID and the title, which means only that data will be available in the UI. Only that data, this data, will be sent across the wire and will be available in this UI. Which means we shouldn't need these, because we now know that for this to return, this will always be truthy, because otherwise it would throw this invariant response. What I don't understand is why, like, what happens if there's no notes? Does find many just return an empty array, I'm guessing? Yeah, let's do it. I'm guessing find many returns an empty array, which then maps over it, which means notes will always be an array, yeah. Yeah, perfect. Makes a lot of sense. Nice. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's cool you're able to just throw it from within the loader. I'm going to make a few changes. I'll add a non-functional delete button. Well done, we're now handling data that's missing, and the life jacket is happy that our types are happy. We'll handle the error UI in another exercise, but this is a good start. I'm going to make a few changes for you. I'm going to add a non-functional delete button and a functional edit link to the existing note page. The edit link takes users to a new note edit route, which I made as well. All it has in there is a JSON string of the note data. I'm also going to be adding a few components to make things look nice. If you've got extra time, feel free to do this yourself, or you can simply check my changes. So interestingly, okay. So have these all been added? So let's have a look here. App root users, username, notes, note ID, edit. Create an app 1, an app 2. Okay, so that creates the file. So that's just creating the file. Exercises 3 loading, solution missing data. It's app 2. I have no idea what app 2 is. You can simply check my changes. I'm guessing when I go into the next exercise, this will all just pre-populate if I set the playground. I think I can mark that as complete. And a dad joke to finish. Seven out of 10 dad joke. Nice. Another module finished. Full stack foundations, data loading. What did we learn? Throwing appropriate error or responses. Responses based on available data. That was actually cool. I learned a lot there. There were a couple of... Where did I stumble? I can't remember. My gut tells me 4. Let's just submit that. Hey, some confetti to finish. Nice. Cool, there's like 5 minutes left, so that's actually a perfect time to leave it for just now. To recap, this session went over the data loading section of the full stack foundations module. We looked through loaders, where we retrieved the data from a mock database and then populated it on the page. And then we handled missing data, where we added an invariant response and threw different status codes based on whatever data was available. If no data was available, we'd return a 404. If data was available, we'd return a 200 and send some data over the wire. That was good fun, but I am now exhausted and I'm going to go to sleep. So thanks for following along, and I'll see you next week.